Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004 in the Penn State Nittany Lions Dynasty mode here, and we are in what is going to be the final episode of this series. We're going to wrap it up with episode 18 in the Sugar Bowl, the national title game with the West Virginia Mountaineers, who are ranked second in the country here, ran at 12-0 this season. They've made it back here. They're looking to get some revenge on the Big Ten because they were here in this same stage last season, but lost to the Buckeyes here, seeking their first title since 2015. So it's been a good handful of years here since the Mountaineers have gotten back to that glory, but they've been competitive the entire time. They've taken some down years, but they've recruited themselves back into the mix, and now they're looking to knock us off here. But we are looking to grab our first national title since 1986, man. So it's been a while. It's long overdue here. Quite the drought here in State College. But we're looking to put that all away here today here, and I don't know, make Joe Paterno happy wherever he is, wherever Joe Pa's out, make him happy. So, but we are looking to grab a big win here, but it's going to be difficult. Obviously, West Virginia is more than the name implies. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. They're a good team. They're a good team, but they do have a pretty significant injury, man. Their starting running back with almost 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns has been injured for the rest of the season. I would assume with those numbers, he probably got injured probably towards the end of the season at some point, but there is still a lot of production coming from the rushing attack of West Virginia around the roster. And that man right there, Snell, is a very interesting case here because you saw he doesn't have a lot of yards on the year, but 22 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. So he's been very efficient with the low amount of yards that he is generating. So just an interesting situation here. But we have a lot of great talent on our side of the ball. Obviously, same with in the backfield. So we should be more than stacked up here against this team out of the old Big East. So first and goal here, already looking to strike first late in the first quarter now, and Bridges back to pass here, takes a shot towards the corner of the end zone and toe tapping along the white chalk. It's going to be a touchdown for Edwin Mathis, the junior. He managed to keep his feet in bounds. We take a 7-0 lead here over West Virginia, but they are immediately striking back here. Snell back to pass, steps up in the pocket, unloads down the middle of the field, finds an open receiver here, relying on the Jets, and he's going to get into the end zone for the touchdown. That is Chris Samuel, the senior here, the top receiver for the Mountaineers. 9 touchdowns on the season, and that is number 10 on the year for him. Not a ton of yards. Again, we only have a quarterback with 1,700 of them, but a lot of touchdowns. Well, you take double-digit touchdowns from a guy like that. So West Virginia strikes back here in the first quarter, and we end things up tied. So this one might not be easy for either team. We might need to keep eyes on it. So first and goal here, again, we've punched it in early to start the second quarter, and Bridges floats one out here, and somehow that lands in the hands of Dan Pace, and he's able to come down with it. I have no idea how, but somehow he does. So we will take that. So we take a 14-7 lead here, and now later in the game here, we have a fumble on the ground, and that's not going to be Dallas Vincent. That's Keon Samuels, who, again, is starting at running back for us this season, and he fumbles the football and gives West Virginia a huge opportunity. So West Virginia now going to try and capitalize on that, but Snell just completely airmails this football. I don't know what on earth he thought was happening, but just airmails that football, and that's going to land right into the hands of Greer, free safety, and that is going to be an equal turnover here, so equality here for both teams. But we managed to drive it all the way down the field, and there's Dallas Vincent. He's going to punch it in and get himself a touchdown in this bowl game. So we also have an injury too in our backfield. Our backup running back, Mike Smith, the sophomore, he's injured for the entire season as well. I don't know when that happened, but he does have a few touchdowns and like 400 yards on the year, so he's been contributing a little bit, but he's also injured in this game. So we're going to have to rely on Vincent and Cam Samuels. Oh, whatever will we do? As West Virginia throws another interception here, Snell throwing a pick in the end zone, and that's going to give us a pretty horrible field position, but we do have an opportunity on offense now. So with a minute left to go, Bridges in his own end zone, and he just, oh my God, that was awful. I don't even know what on earth. That was terrible. Interception here. Oh, that's bad. So a pick here for West Virginia, and that's going to completely reset things. And now the Mountaineers are in prime position to at least get back within 7 before the half is over. Snell flips one to the end zone, and that pass is going to be completed for another Mountaineer touchdown. That time it is Seneca Callahan. Great name, by the way. Getting touchdown number 8 on the season for the junior. So West Virginia wasting no time off of that turnover here. They squandered the last one, and now they really capitalize on this one. So turnovers have been the death of every bowl game we've ever watched, and hopefully that doesn't become the case here in the Sugar Bowl, because we really, really need this win, man. We do. But we still hold a 21-14 lead over West Virginia at the end of the first half, but now it is all Mountaineers here right now in the third quarter on a 3rd and long. Snell back to pass here. Flips it out quickly. It's a little bit of a screen pass, and it's Callahan again, trying to create something in open space, but it's going absolutely nowhere. just brought down at about the Penn State 29-yard line. And so West Virginia going to have to rely on the kicking team. The kick is up. We're in a dome here, no elements, but that doesn't matter because the kick is still wide left. I mean, it is pushed wide left, and the lead is going to remain at 7. So West Virginia could have put themselves in a great position by at least adding 3 points here. Kind of offset the score a little bit if they were able to get the football back, but now they're just back within 7. They can only tie the ball game now if they are able to get the football back. So we need to play a lot of keep away for the remainder of the game here, but we got a lot of time to kill. But Keon Samuels is going to fumble the football again, and West Virginia's going to pick it up, man. What is happening? What on earth is happening, Keon Samuels, man? Just put Dallas Vincent in. Put Dallas Vincent back in at running back. This is just falling apart, bro. Dallas Vincent would never do nothing like this to us. Keon Samuels is fumbling the ball away, fumbling the game away, literally. So that is all that would happen in the third quarter, just a missed field goal and some turnover. Troubles for the Nittany Lions, but 2nd and 10 now for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and that pass is blocked. And it's a fumble, I guess. It's considered a turnover, I guess. I didn't think that was a turnover, but I guess it is. They're going to count it as a turnover. And again, I'm going to apologize right now because you guys probably noticed the score here. I just completely missed, I guess just brain fart, forgot to edit in our other touchdown, I guess. So, sorry. I don't know how I missed that, but we did score again, and we were up 20-14, and now getting deep in West Virginia territory, this Maddox is able to drill. The Groves Award winner, by the way, Maddox able to drill that field goal through, which should just about put the game out of reach for West Virginia, but there is still like a little bit of time. But now under a minute here, down 31-14, West Virginia needs a miracle. They need a miracle, and Snell's going to get a touchdown, so that's going to at least, help. That certainly is going to help, but up multiple scores here, that's probably just about all that West Virginia can do is just kind of pad the stats here as Callahan gets another touchdown pass in this game. West Virginia's not completely dead in the water here, but they are pretty dead. They're dead in the water. They're dead in the water. So we end up winning this by 10. Again, sorry I forgot to edit in the other touchdown. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know. It's been a long day. I've recorded a lot. So, but we do manage to grab a national title here. Fred Kirk is a national championship coach. He's probably going to have a ton of prospects across the landscape of college football here, but I'm pretty sure this is a contract year as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was a contract year for Penn State, so they probably needed to see something like this to feel confident about rolling with Fred Kirk for the foreseeable future, as if there's anything else better that's going to be coming to Penn State that isn't us, you know what I mean? Not like a James Franklin's going to walk through that door, you know what I'm saying? But we do manage to kind of just outpower West Virginia, which is more physical, I think, honestly. Even with the turnover troubles, we were still able to really just prove our physicality here. So there's our Sugar Bowl trophy here. We pick up another trophy. Look at that. Just put it in the trophy cabinet, man. I always win Sugar Bowls. I don't know what it is about Sugar Bowls. It calls to me. I don't even like Sugar Bowl. It's like my least favorite of the 4. And there's our crystal ball. Look at there, our shiny crystal ball. It's not really shiny. It looks a little flat in this game, but it's fine. It's our shiny crystal ball. We win it. We win the national championship. We have one. There you go, Penn State. I gave you one. I got you one. Now we can get on out of here and ride into the sunset and hopefully look to do something else with someone else. Probably still in this game because I can't get away from this game. But we do get a contract extension from Penn State. The only reason I'm showing this here, I do plan on retiring, you know what I mean? Hit the retire function or just stopping the series. But the game gets weird. It won't let me see my stats if I retire. So I need to stay with Penn State so I can see a whole stats, because later in the video I will show my report card and all of our stats and everything like that. We'll talk about it. But so this is a contract extension, which we are obviously going to take here and stick with Penn State. That's essentially how it's going to end. So we're going to look towards the rest of the video now and basically wrap up the series. And so a charmed season comes to an end, and that will pretty much wrap it up. Primarily, we're going to look through everything, I guess. We'll take the time now since we're not doing an off-season. We'll just take a look through pretty much everything. Just look through the bowls and stuff like that. I guess a fun thing to do was I wanted to look at Oklahoma's schedule because Oklahoma, if you will, wherever they are, they're further up. Because Oklahoma, again, as I mentioned in the previous video, had a monumental collapse of a year, which is just head-scratching. So I wanted to look at Oklahoma's schedule and just see, what on earth happened under the hood with Oklahoma? Where on earth did things go wrong? I wonder if they have, an injury or something. So, okay, so they started the year off with a loss to New Mexico State. Brutal at a conference way to start, taking a loss to a mid-major in Mexico State. But we obviously know that the Aggies are more than the Sun Belt tag would imply. Then they followed it up with a loss to Miami of Ohio. So no, things were already bad, before they even got before they even hosted a home game, because this is their first home game is us. Brutal, dude. So yeah, they start off with 3 straight just like horrendous losses, which would essentially end the season. I mean, I think the New Mexico State loss would probably end their season. It's early enough where they could probably recover, I think, through conference play, and it'd be all right, but still a bad loss to take to start your year if you're Oklahoma. And then after the Miami thing, it's like, all right, well, definitely nothing's happening now. And then, yeah, we just really put the nail in. But they beat up on UNLV, which wasn't bad. They beat Iowa State, who was bad. Lost the Red River rivalry, but Texas is pretty good here. Oh, 3 straight losses here to Missouri and Colorado. These are tough games, though. Probably weren't slated to win. If they weren't good enough to win those first couple games, they definitely weren't winning these. But then they picked up a ranked win against Oklahoma State, who ended up finishing pretty well. They beat up on Texas A&M, who wasn't all that good this year. Lost to a bad Baylor and a bad Texas Tech. So the pathway to being bowl eligible this season definitely did exist for Oklahoma, but things just completely fell apart. And I guess while I have them selected, we'll see if it might not show it now because the season's over, I think. Yeah, I don't think it's going to show me injury. Let's go to injury report. I don't think it's going to show any injuries because the season's over. Yeah, I don't think it is. But we'll look at the depth chart, see statistically if maybe that was the reason. So their quarterback did not play well. Yeah, so it looks like they used 2 quarterbacks. It looks like 3 got on the field, so it looks like they had some serious injury to the quarterback maybe, and that kind of really impacted their season a little bit. But this is what this is for. Since we're doing a little finale, we're kind of riffing here. We're just kind of riffing and having fun with it. But we'll get into actual Penn State stuff here in a second. We'll look over the remainder, or the last stats, I guess, and kind of look at the future, I guess, for what this program would be. I also never really clocked that me taking over Penn State would mean that I probably replaced Joe Paterno at some point. I can't remember exactly off the top of the dome when he retired, but I'm going to assume that that's when, like, with in game where we were year-wise, like, I think it was, when did we take over Penn State? Like 2014? 2015, I think. We're going to assume that that's when he retired or left, I guess. We're going to assume the Sandusky stuff never happened. It's not real. It never happened. And Jopa just retired on his own, and Fred Kirk stepped in, the upstart coach from Duke, from Durham. So let's look at the bowls here. So North Texas, another 12-1 season. Duke got me. Just, oof. That's a tough one right there. The Sun Belt. I'd love to play in this Sun Belt. If I could do a Sun Belt sim in this game, and this would be my Sun Belt with North Texas and New Mexico State. I mean, this essentially was an NCAA05 with Idaho. Like, we just had to fight North Texas every year before we ended up leaving the Sun Belt. Toledo hammered Cincinnati. So Toledo, another great season, man. Toledo's been a perennial team, like, every single year. It's weird. It's not weird because Toledo was actually decent around this time, but, like, I just mean, like, I haven't seen that in my other sims of this game, so it's just kind of cool. Duke gets shut out in a bowl game. New Mexico absolutely clowns Duke in the Tangerine Bowl. That's hilarious. So they finished 10-3. Another good season, though, for Duke. I'll give them that. They finished 10-2 and then lose the bowl. But just hilarious that they get shut out in their bowl game here. A MAC matchup in the Fort Worth Bowl is funny. Air Force, another good season here. Utah putting together a 7-6 season. That was a candidate for another series I was thinking of. Louisiana Lafayette put together a good season. Northern Illinois as well. Miami's still struggling to get over there. Still grabbing a couple losses. I think that happened in the Bama series too. Like, they just reached a point where they just couldn't, like, stop losing like 3 or 4 games a year. Like, they just couldn't get over that hump, that threshold. They just ended up struggling. Another MAC matchup in the Continental Tire Bowl. It's funny how many like MAC bowls, like how many good MAC teams there are creating these matchups. So Nebraska and Iowa, a future Big Ten matchup in the Alamo Bowl. Houston, Oklahoma State. I'm just looking for any interesting bowl games here. Middle Tennessee State, 10 wins, man. If the real life Middle Tennessee State fans could see this now, they might crack a smile a little bit or something. I don't know. Utah looking 12-1 here. They're still in the Mountain West in this game, so that's a heck of a Utah. Looks like Alabama's finally putting something together. Finally got a halfway decent coach. Still, Alabama playing Kent State in the Music City Bowl. That's hilarious. That just, I don't know, it's funny to me. Vanderbilt made it to a bowl. Hold on, wait a minute. Future SEC matchup in the Independence Bowl. Notre Dame 9-4, not great, man. Illinois finished 11-2. Goodness gracious. I guess we got to look at the standings here. Oh my God, what a game in the Capital One Bowl between Auburn and Ohio State. What a game here. So the Buckeyes lose their bowl game, man. So this was really not the year for the Buckeyes, I guess. It really wasn't. The Rose Bowl. Look at the Rose Bowl. Overtime. Look at the freaking Orange Bowl. Rice went undefeated. They finished number 2. So, again, another mid-major could probably claim that they are national champions, but we know that's not how this works. So, let's get into the stat stuff. I'll quit lollygagging around here. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. I want to see if it says, let's see, awards. Yeah, best QB, first team All-American, yeah. Derek Bridges is decorated, folks, and he's got one more year, so whoever comes in next, has one more year of Derek Bridges, his senior season. He'd probably leave early. I would imagine he would, with all the accolades he's racked up here. Identical season to last year, not as many touchdowns, but definitely threw for way more yards, and the completion percentage was up with about 30 more attempts, so I think the efficiency was definitely there, man. Derek Bridges is shaping up to be a formidable starter. And then Sandy Milligan got on the field again this season a little bit, but nothing too great here. Nothing to talk about. Keon Samuels finally had a breakout here in his senior season. Finally gets the primary carries here. And the unfortunate thing is that, yes, guys, down here, Dallas Vinson. I thought still as a fullback, just given his caliber, like he would still get played a bit, like the AI would just play him a bit more, but they didn't. They just didn't use him as a fullback. Our offense doesn't use a fullback that much, so he just didn't end up getting on the field at all. It's funny that he got the touchdown. I didn't say it in the bowl part of the video because, I try not to reveal the stats before we look at him, but I knew, like, oh my God, that's his first touchdown of the year. That's so awful, man. It's terrible. Even Derek Bridges, our quarterback, had more touchdowns and more yards than Dallas Vinson, man. That's disgusting, man. But Brad Tyler, shout out, man. He had 7 touchdowns. I think he got injured for the season, I think he was, who got injured for the season. I mentioned it in the bowl that he gets injured for the season. We finally have a 1,000-yard receiver. This might be the first one we've had at Penn State, which is something I've been struggling to get in this series for some reason. It's just been very difficult. Remember the Bama series? It happened every year, just about. I had it happen every year, but in this one it's been difficult. But Vinny Wise hits the 1,000 threshold here, just barely. Probably the bowl game was able to do it. And then Dan Pace finishes just behind him. A solid 1-2 tandem in our receiving core. And again, a bunch of guys kind of spread out down the line a little bit here. Blocking-wise, the offensive line here. So Michael Mathis, a pretty good year. Same with L.J. Jacobs. Huge step down from where he was in his junior year. He regressed back to his sophomore form, but still a good season for him. I'll take it. Also not a bad year from Alex Sharp either. Just limiting the number of sacks is pretty good. Lynn Reyes, who we put in place of Moultrie, because Moultrie was starting to bug me, but Lynn Reyes doesn't really have the best of years either. Rusty Eldridge has a good year. Micah McDowell only allowing 1 sack, so definitely got a little bit more help from the offensive line this time around. Probably expected more, and still tackles just low, man. Conrad Barker fails to crack 70, and he probably would have been the only one to do it. Charles Wiley easily could have done it, and probably should have done it. Some of our linebackers should have done it. I'm floored that didn't happen. But TFLs, maybe, I don't know. We have 3 with double digits, man. Matt Pearson finishes 1 shy. I expect more from the defense. Our defense hasn't been bad any of these years. I just expect the numbers to jump off the page at me and scream at me like, oh my God, look at that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I expect, but it just doesn't really happen. Spreading the sacks all throughout here. Interceptions, how's that? Again, just spreading things all throughout here with Khaled Turner grabbing the most of them at 4. And then kicking. We have a Groza Award winner. He was kicking 90%, dude. Kicking 90%. Didn't miss an extra point. He missed 4 last season? Jeez. Missed 4. Had 16 touchbacks, so I guess he was on that juice. Got to check his water bottle, man. He was on something this season. The Groza Award winner. So we definitely win a couple player awards. No receivers of the year, no Heisman's, no nothing. But we got a Groza and a couple quarterbacks of the year. So let's go to the stat rankings here. So again, our offense is ranking top of the Big Ten here. We're first in offensive yards per game, so our offense was absolutely clicking this year. We finished 4th in yards per game, just nationally. I'm very curious who's in front of us. And 3rd in passing yards per game. So again, just very curious. I think if I go or no, it doesn't have it. Okay. I could go flip through individually and see who. No, we're not doing that. But okay, so rushing yards per game, we were back at 43rd, which is kind of where we've typically been. Last year was a bit of an outlier, I guess. I think we were 29th. Points per game, we were at 5th, which is typically an area where we really excel at, which 5th is not bad at all. And we're, of course, 1st in the Big Ten. So 1st in passing TDs in the Big Ten and 2nd all nationally. I almost said 2nd all time. Rushing touchdowns, we're at 28. So the rushing TDs, that typically does conflict with the yards per game. We typically get a lot more touchdowns than we do yards per game. That's just how we do it. 12th in first downs, 1st in the Big Ten. So finishing 12th. So no one else. So Ohio State wasn't even in the top 10 of first downs. That's interesting. Sacks allowed. Okay, so we did protect the quarterback a lot more here. So we're second in red zone attempts here, 18th in percentage. So I really focus on the red zone. I just want to be good in the red zone. That's an area where I feel like you should be good unanimously. It should not be up for debate. You should be good. So defensively, yards per game, we were first in the Big Ten. A lot of first conference-wise. So we really were definitively the best team coming out of the Big Ten. Looks like passing yards per game we were second, though. I'm curious who. There's no guarantee it was Ohio State. I assume it was, but there's no guarantee that it is. I guess I could check that. I could look at it. Rushing yards per game, we finished second nationally. Average points against, we finished second. I'm guessing rushing, we probably finished second to maybe Wake Forest or West Virginia. That's who I would assume is probably there. But our defense absolutely lightened it up. Yeah, sacks. Okay, so I was right. Not a lot in the sack column. We didn't get to the quarterback as much as I thought we would, but we finished fifth in the Big Ten, so we're middle of the pack. So pass rush was something we definitely faltered at as far as the conference is concerned. And then interceptions. Wow, fumbles recovered. We were fourth, man. So we were getting a lot of fumbles here. We allowed the fewest amount of red zone attempts, just period, in the country. The fewest amount of field goals. Wow, man. But our percentage, look at that. But it's just we allowed so few. So that's typically on brand with where that stat is. We always allow like the fewest stuff, but like the percentage is bad just because we don't allow that much. You know what I mean? Allowing 5 touchdowns in the red zone is probably not great, but if you only let them in there 10 times, you know what I mean? Like. You get it. But efficiency-wise, oh my goodness, oof. So, we took a lot of third downs. And the percentage is a little bit lower than it normally is. We typically hit at least 50%, so we're a little bit lower this year, which trends us down. We took a lot of third downs. That's typically something we do too. We take a lot of third downs. Fourth down percentage, though, we're second in the Big Ten, 68%. So, that's interesting. Anything else? Man, we were not all that disciplined. I don't know why that keeps fluctuating. I have no idea why that fluctuates as much as it does. That's very odd to me. Turnovers, it looks a little good. We protected the football more than I think we typically do, and defense is able to get us the ball in a myriad of ways, and our differential and takeaways is first overall in the Big Ten, but we're not close to the top nationally here. So that is how the team stacks up overall. And I guess the final thing we'll do is we'll look at some standings here. Maybe the I don't know. I was going to say top 25, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But we'll look at the final standings and see who is where, who's doing what here. So in the ACC, Wake Forest wins it again. I don't know how many years in a row they've won it, but NC State bounces back, has a good year. Florida State still struggling to find their way. Georgia Tech, the only other team here with a winning record, it looks like. Clemson struggles again. Virginia struggles again. UConn, after having a good year last year, falls back down to earth. Maryland struggles again. North Carolina still sucks. So look at that, dude. 4-4-8 teams, man. If you showed the real ACC fans today this, they'd probably be like, yeah, that tracks. That's fair. That tracks. In the Big Ten, we sit atop here. Ohio State and Illinois both finished 11-2 with only one loss. So I'm curious. I'm guessing one of Illinois' losses has to be Ohio State, because I'm pretty sure they do play each other in this game, in that conference schedule. So I think Illinois' probably one of their only losses is Ohio State. I can't imagine who would be. Oh, probably. No, do we play Illinois? I don't think we play Illinois. I'm very curious who the other loss is. But I was sitting here 7-6, a decent year in conference, which helps them out because they probably would have missed a bowl otherwise. Wisconsin has a good year, but kind of a mid-year in conference. They probably could have, again, reached a much higher. They could have reached Illinois' heights if they just performed a little bit better in conference. Northwestern, another 4-win season. Purdue, again, bottom just coming out. Michigan, the bottom comes out on the Wolverines. They finished 3-9. Indiana, another 3-9. So I was talking all that smack about the ACC, but we got 4 9-loss teams here in the Big Ten. So, and the Minnesota's 5-7, again performing horribly in conference, sitting at the bottom. So, and then Michigan State, another one. So we have 4 3-win teams and 5 9-loss teams. Just period. That just not great. The Big Ten, the caboose of the Big Ten was really not in good shape. So it ends up becoming a conference of have and have not. This is the year for us to win it if we were going to, clearly. In the Big 12, so I'm going to look at the Big 12 by division. So in the North Division, you had Colorado sitting atop, but Kansas State has the extra game, so I'm going to assume that Kansas State actually made it to the Big 12 championship. I hated the standings do it like this. I hate how it does it like that because, Kansas State, I think, for sure probably lost the Big 12 championship, but since Colorado and Nebraska don't have the extra loss, you know what I mean, the win percentage is better, so you get it, you understand. So I'm going to put Kansas State first, but Colorado behind, along with Nebraska right behind. Pretty par for the course here. Missouri as well, so Talking about, multiple 9-loss teams. How about multiple 9-win teams? So the Big 12 is loaded at the top. Iowa State still struggling to find some momentum, and Kansas still sucks as well. In the South, though, Texas is your Big 12 champions. They managed to win it, even though they have 4 losses. So they finished 9-4, another 9-win team, but then they grab that victory. And then, or actually, they probably finished 9-3, perhaps, or 8-4, maybe. Because they probably played a bowl game, too, so they probably finished 8-4, you'd think? I don't know. Oklahoma State finishes 9-4. They put together a good season. They went 500 in conference. So just, mind you, you know what I mean? So that's wild. Baylor is bad. So it looks like the South Division was just complete disarray. It was really between Oklahoma State and Texas and nobody else, and the North Division was just a complete murderer's row in the Big 12. In the Big East, it has been these 3 teams the entire time, guys. Every time I've recorded these, it has been the Big East this entire time. It's been West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Miami, like the entire series. Pittsburgh has struggled. They've cycled in and out a little bit, but they're bad now. And Boston College, Temple, Syracuse, and Rutgers, this is your caboose. This has not gotten any better or worse. Like, I think Temple's had a couple of decent years, like, you know what I mean? Like, they've cycled in and out with, like, bowl-eligible seasons, but that's it. It's been these 3 teams getting double-digit wins every single year for the entire sim. So, CUSA in the Conference USA. Southern Miss leads things here after a perfect season in conference, but they lose 5 games at a conference. That is wild. Cincinnati finishes 8-5. They're up here at the top once again. Houston with a decent season finally. They're typically pretty bad when I do these sims. Army is sitting up here at 5-7. That's probably as good as they could get. 5 conference wins, so Army does good in conference play here. Louisville struggles. TCU, a bad year in conference, puts them around 500. ECU sucks again. Tulane sucks again. And USF. USF is another team that's just been winning like a few games a year, every year, like 1 or 2 games every year. They're really bad. And then Memphis as well. Memphis is also here. Memphis is here at 2-10. And then you have UAB at the bottom. Geez, so the bottom of the Conference USA was just really not in a good spot at all. Just not in a great spot. They were just not doing all that well. Yeah, okay. So that's the CUSA. And then the Independents, Duke here, is sitting at the top. And then you have Notre Dame, of course. And then Navy and Troy State suck once again. In the MAC here, we'll do the MAC by division again as well. UCF does sit at the top. I think they made it to the MAC championship. They've made it a few times. I don't think they've ever won it in the sim, but they've made it a few times. Kent State sitting here as well. Another decent season from them. Ohio struggles. Look at this. A lot of like 500, fledgling 500, but then Marshall completely falls apart. I guess they've been really kind of slipping. And then Buffalo is bad. Buffalo is typically always bad. And then in the Western Division here, Northern Illinois and Toledo, man, just completely hammering it out. And Northern Illinois remains on top. But somehow Toledo is ranked above. I don't know how. Maybe Northern Illinois lost their bowl game. It's the only thing I can think of. We did just look at them, I know. Western Michigan still sitting here. And then look at this. 4-8 just pad of teams right here. Look at this. Ridiculous. The MAC, man. Have and have not of a conference. Colorado State finally gets over the Air Force hump, wins the Mountain West again here, but doesn't make it to the national title game. But Utah throwing their hat into the ring here. That typically doesn't happen when I do these sims. Air Force is still hanging around, though. They're ranked 15th in the country. UNLV has a decent season. Wyoming sucks. San Diego State sucks. New Mexico also sucks. And then BYU also sucks. So we're seeing a lot of top and bottom type situations in these conferences. UCLA wins another Pac-10 title, really uncontested. I mean, Oregon State finished 6-2 in conference, as did USC. But look at these overall records, dude. This is bad. What the heck happened in the Pac-10? The Pac-10 is typically like this, which is why I'm enticed to do a series in it, in this game. Because, typically when I run the Sims, the Pac-10 gets really bad. Like it just doesn't stay consistently good, like all the way through. I don't know why. It just, you typically have like one team, and you have a few teams that in conference play well, but like overall, you always have like 4 or 5 lost Pac-10 teams at the top. It's weird. I don't know why. In the SC, in the Eastern Division, South Carolina puts together a great season, man. Probably 1 win away from maybe being in the national title conversation. Tennessee, though, finishes 7-7. Another 14-game season for Tennessee. That's interesting. Vanderbilt also finishes 500. Kentucky hovering around there. And then Georgia completely falling apart here. And Florida still sucks. In the Western Division, Auburn is back on top here, but they do lose the SEC championship to South Carolina, which probably derailed their season quite a bit. LSU is still sitting here, though. They came pretty close to taking that spot from Auburn. Arkansas struggling. Alabama really struggled in conference this year. Ole Miss is bad. And then Mississippi State is also bad again. In the Sun Belt, you have 3 double-digit win teams here. So you have North Texas, Middle Tennessee State, and New Mexico State all fighting for that top spot here. But North Texas, is the undisputed Sun Belt champs in this game. Louisiana Lafayette also just kind of in here. Conference-wise, they didn't really have much of a shot here, but they had a good season. Idaho's been medaling around 500 in the sim, which is weird. I've never seen Idaho do good in any sim I've ever done, but they've done decent in this. And then Arkansas State is also here, and then Utah State, and Louisiana Monroe, not good, not good at all. In the WAC, Rice, the disputed national champions, we'll say, finish a perfect 13-0 and win the WAC. Nevada's up here, though, along with Fresno State, so Nevada's finally entering as the third team in the WAC, maybe, to make things interesting. But UTEP also finished 6-2 in conference. They just struggled out of conference. Maybe could have had a different discussion. San Jose State struggles in conference, as does Louisiana Tech, which leads to their medaling records. Hawaii's completely fallen apart here at 3-10. Boise State, even though they've recruited a little bit better the last couple seasons, are still far away. And then SMU's bad, and Tulsa is still bad. But that is how the standings go. So that's essentially it, guys. We'll look at the trophy room. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? We'll do that. Trophy room. Woo! Okay, so let's go all the way back here. Okay, so some of these are the Bama ones. So this is a Bama trophy here. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, this is a Bama trophy here. I think this is our first SEC trophy, I think. I think it might be. I think that's our first SEC championship trophy. This is our Thorpe Award. If you guys remember, our Thorpe Award winner. Jamil Spears, this is his receiver of the year, because I knew we had another one, I just couldn't find it. And then Carlos Cobb is quarterback of the year. So that 2006 season was charmed for us, guys. It was. But we're not talking about Bama here. We're talking about Fred Kirk, I guess, his career. So the Tangerine Bowl here. And I think these are all attributed to Fred Kirk. I don't think Jim West, I don't think ever did anything other than lose. So this is all pretty much just his trophies here, Fred Kirk. So we have our Tangerine Bowl trophy here over Wake Forest. Then, of course, we have our Independence Bowl trophy over Colorado, which we won the following year. Yeah, let's look at this bowl streak. That's a big thing to look at. Then we made it to the Humanitarian Bowl, which we did win. That was the crazy one with Fresno State, if you guys remember that one. That was in 2013. And then, I guess, we skipped out in 2014? Yeah, because I don't know. Did we not play? Or no, this is the 2014 season, but this is our first with Penn State, and we win the Capital One Bowl. We win the Capital One Bowl with Penn State over Georgia. That's the first bowl game we have, and then we also won the Big Ten in our first season, by the way. First season at Penn State, we win the Big Ten. Got the second, got a Big Ten title, and then the following year we'd win the Rose Bowl against UCLA. That was a close one. I think we had to come back in that one. You remember we had to come back in that, but we also won the Big Ten again that year. So this is like the renaissance. I thought for sure I'd be able to get the Natty in the following season, but then Ohio State just came back. They just came back and figured things out. And then LeBron Pierce, remember he won linebacker of the year, so we have some player trophies. Chris Boyer won a quarterback of the year trophy, so we've got 3, I think, but 2 of them go to the same quarterback. Then the Bednarik to LeBron Pierce, great guy, probably playing on Sunday somewhere, probably out there playing. And then in 2018, we'd win another Capital One Bowl. Is this for the following? Yeah, I think it is. I'm just falling apart. Yeah, because, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm with it. Okay, guys? I'm with it. But yeah, so we win another Capital One Bowl against Georgia. Derek Bridges gets the quarterback of the year. And then we win the Orange Bowl last season against Wake Forest, that defensive slugfest we just saw. And then we win another Big Ten title, get the Groza Award, get another Quarterback of the Year award, get the national championship, and then, of course, we grab the Sugar Bowl as the final little cherry on top. So this is another decorated dynasty here that we've done. I've had a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys have had a lot of fun watching it. It was fun. But we're going to move to the next series. I'm going to probably record it, the first episode, immediately after I finish recording this. So thank you guys so much for watching the Penn State Duke little thing. It was a fun little coach thing I've done. I've had a Temple one recorded and edited for like probably 2 months now, and like just finding the time to fully script out like an hour long, I think it's longer than that, like narration to go alongside it, because I don't want to freeform it like I normally do. I want it to be a little bit more structured, a little bit more scripted, but I just have not had the time to do that. So, but that has just been sitting in my bank, and I plan for that to be like my coaching dynasty. That's why I'm bringing this up, because that was supposed to be like my coaching dynasty, because what happens in that is interesting, and I ended up going somewhere else, and I wanted to try and do the whole circle. Like, we end up going to, back down to the mid-majors, and we have to coach our way back up to the power schools, you know what I mean? And maybe we finish with Temple, trying to, get the job done with the Owls, but that's all, a future project, I guess. I don't know. But the first part of that, the whole temple section of that, I've had recorded and edited for a long time. So maybe I'll get to that and I'll be able to get it up at some point. But I'm going to move right on ahead into the next series. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I do plan for it to be a little bit more longer form, kind of like the Bama series. But I'm gonna pick a team that I think has a lot of legs to go. So a struggling, probably mid-major team in a fun conference that'll probably take a good few seasons and maybe even a couple coaches to even get good in their conference, and then we'll try and see if we can get the invite to a power conference and just continue it, and then that'll be, we'll see how many years we can get out of that. So hopefully you guys are strapped in along for the ride. I do want to try other sports games on the channel, but like football is just such an easily and accessible thing for me to do. It resonates with the audience a lot too. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys want to see other sports in the future, I could look into that. I don't have the same quote-unquote expertise. I don't have a ton with football either, but I don't have the same quote-unquote expertise with like things like basketball or hockey as I would like to. So I kind of, that's another reason why I kind of shy away. I'd love to do college basketball in here too, but I know like nothing about college basketball historically. So like, I don't want to go in there and just look like a complete fool, complete idiot. I at least have some background with NFL and college from this time. You know what I mean? But if I played March Madness 04, I'd have no idea about anything. So, you guys let me know. Just, give me your thoughts, feedback, and all that stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching, man. And this is going to be the end of our Duke and Nittany Lions. Let's go to coach options. Hold on. I was about to wrap this thing up, man. I didn't even go to the report card. That's the whole reason I stayed at Penn State instead of retiring. Here we go. So, we are undefeated in national and locally televised games. We are averaging over 105,000 people a game. 105,000 people a game here. So our current win streak is 17. What's our longest? It's 21. So remember, Signaven got way up there. I think we finished, with a 43 game win streak? We had 11 winning seasons. So 14 years, we've had 11 winning seasons. 17-8 versus the top 25. Interesting. All right, interesting. 14-2 against rivals. I don't know who's considered a rivals as Penn State. That's interesting. I don't know who the game considers rivals. And then our bowl record is 8-2. I can't even think of the 2 bowl games that we lost. But we finished 8-2. And then conference titles. Oh, that's right. I forgot. That's what tripped me up in the Penn State one, because I was missing a year, and I forgot that we went to the national title game and lost to Ohio State. I completely forgot about that. But that's, one of our bowl losses. And the 3 Big Ten titles and a Natty. So we won the Natty. And they gave me, how long was that extension? 5 years. So, but we're probably, because we are 70-8 at Penn State. So think about that. We're 135-43 overall, and 70 of those wins are here in State College, and only 8 of those losses. So think about all that with Duke, man. Just crazy. We did spend a lot of years at Duke, dude. We spent a ton of years at Duke. So, all right, but now that's how we'll end it. We'll end it on this screen. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've rambled way longer than I wanted to. I wanted this to be like a 10-minute video, and it's not, because that's just what I do. So, thank you guys so much for watching and putting up with my ramblings and continuing to watch. I appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea. Thank you so much for commenting and engaging and watching the stuff, man. I'm just a guy with a hobby that just enjoy doing this. So, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.